The Jewish people, a nation often regarded as the most intelligent and the wealthiest in the world. But their greatness doesn't just come from business success. It comes from the wisdom behind their way of thinking, deep philosophies hidden in the simplest stories of everyday life. Each small story carries a powerful lesson about perseverance, about money, about how to see opportunity where others see failure, and how to value the true meaning of hard work. Today, let's explore 4 remarkable Jewish business stories, each one a different perspective, each one a timeless lesson that might just change the way you think. Story 1. Pow's Chickens, the farmer who changed too much. Once upon a time, there was a farmer named Pow. He had a large flock of chickens, and he loved them dearly. They were his pride and joy. But one day, something terrible happened. Pow rushed to his neighbor's house, panicking. "My chickens! Half of them have died from the flu. What should I do?" The neighbor asked calmly, "What do you feed them?" "Rice," Pow replied. The neighbor nodded and said, "You should feed them wheat instead." Pow quickly went home and followed his advice. The next day, Pow came running again, even more desperate. "Oh no! 15 more have died." The neighbor asked, "What do you give them to drink?" "Cold water." The neighbor shook his head. "You should give them warm water." Once again, Pow listened and did exactly as told. 2 days later, Pow came back, looking hopeless. "Now I have only a few chickens left." The neighbor asked, "Where do you get their water?" "From the well." The neighbor said, "You should use purified water instead." Pow nodded and left, still holding on to that last bit of hope. Not long after, Pow came back once more, his face filled with sorrow. "My last chicken has died." The neighbor sighed deeply and said, "What a pity. I still had so many more good ideas for you to try." Pow stood in silence, staring at the empty yard where his chickens once played under the morning sun. Moral of the story: when we try to change, in life or in business, we must not abandon what already works. Changing your appearance is fine, but never lose your heart or your foundation. And most importantly, never let yourself become someone else's experiment. Story 2. The Businessman in Prison. 3 men were sentenced to 3 years in prison for some reason. Before they entered, the warden said to them, "Each of you may make one request and I will grant it for the entire 3 years." The American, who loved cigars, immediately said, "I want 3 boxes of cigars to enjoy during my time here." The Frenchman, known for his romantic nature, smiled and said, "I want a beautiful woman to stay with me." The Jewish man simply smiled and said, "I want a phone, so I can stay connected with the outside world at any time." 3 years passed quickly. The first one to come out was the American. He rushed out of his cell, shouting loudly, "Fire! Give me fire!" It turned out he had cigars, but he had forgotten to ask for a lighter. The second man to come out was the Frenchman. Beside him was a beautiful woman, carrying a baby in her arms, holding another by the hand, and pregnant with the third one. Finally, the Jewish man came out. He shook the warden's hand and said, "Thank you. For the past 3 years, I stayed connected with the world outside. My business didn't just survive, it grew 3-fold. To show my gratitude, I'll send you a car." This story gives us a valuable lesson. Your choices determine your destiny. The success you have today comes from the decisions you made in the past, and the choices you make today will shape your future tomorrow. Story 3. The 3 men who buried their money. The Jewish mindset about wealth. For more than 2,000 years, the Jewish people have lived scattered around the world. They have faced countless persecutions and expulsions, yet they have never been assimilated or lost their identity. This is deeply connected to the Jewish way of thinking about money, something they are taught from the moment they are born. To the Jews, money is a double-edged sword. It can sustain life, but it can also corrupt the soul. They believe that money is a mirror. It reflects a person's true character. It can reveal both the greed and the nobility hidden within. Now let's hear an ancient Jewish story that shows exactly how they think about money and human nature. One Sabbath day, the holy day of rest and worship, 3 Jewish men were traveling together to Jerusalem. Along the way, they found it inconvenient to carry too much gold and silver, so they agreed to bury all their money in one place and continue their journey. But later that night, one of them secretly went back, dug up the treasure, and took everything. The next day, when they returned and found the money gone, they realized one of them must be the thief. but there was no evidence to prove who it was. So they decided to go to King Solomon, the wisest judge of all, and ask him to settle the matter. After hearing their story, Solomon didn't question them immediately. Instead, he said, "I have a difficult case to solve. Perhaps the three of you, wise men, can help me first. Once you do, I will judge your case." Then Solomon told them this story. In a certain village, there was a girl who was engaged to a man, but later she fell in love with someone else. So she asked her fiancé to break the engagement and offered him money as compensation. The young man, out of love and generosity, agreed to break the engagement without taking any payment. Not long after, the girl was deceived and kidnapped by an old man who demanded ransom money to set her free. The girl said to him, "My former fiancé let me go without taking any money, so perhaps you should do the same." The old man thought for a moment and let her go. When Solomon finished, he asked, "Tell me, which of the three, the girl, the young man, or the old man, do you think deserves the most praise?" The first man said, "The young man is admirable. He let the girl go and didn't care about the money." The second man said, "The girl is brave. She followed her heart and dared to pursue true love." But the third man frowned and said, "This story makes no sense. The old man kidnapped her for money. Why would he let her go without getting any?" Before he could finish his sentence, Solomon suddenly stood up, pointed at him, and shouted, "You are the thief!" The man was stunned. Solomon continued, "The other two cared about love and character, but you only thought about money. There is no doubt you are the one who stole the gold." Moral of the story: a person's attitude toward money reveals their true character. The greedy see only wealth without honor or conscience. The noble value morality above money. In daily life, Jews often judge a person's integrity by how they handle wealth. That's why there's a Jewish proverb that says, "Money has no name, no face, and no origin. But if you earn it with your own skill and honesty, you deserve to keep it with pride." Story 4. The Jewish Boy and $1. One afternoon, a young Jewish boy named Huyet was walking home from school. By the side of the road, he noticed a small sign that read, "Grass cutting job, $1." He stopped for a moment and thought to himself, "I always have some free time on weekends. Why not use it to do something useful and earn a little money?" So he walked up to the house and knocked on the door. An old lady with white hair came out to greet him. The boy politely asked, "Ma'am, are you the one looking for someone to cut the grass?" The old lady smiled and replied, "Yes, dear. I need someone to take care of my lawn, but I can only pay $1. Are you sure you still want to do it?" Without hesitation, the boy said, "Of course, ma'am. No matter how much you pay, I'll make sure the lawn looks perfect." The old lady nodded with a warm smile. They made a deal for the weekend. That evening, the boy told his father about what had happened. After listening, his father said proudly, "You've done well, my son. I'm proud that you respect money, even if it's just $1. For the Jewish people, there's no such thing as small money. They believe that only with the right attitude toward money can you turn small coins into great wealth. To them, money itself isn't good or bad. What matters is how you earn it. As long as you earn money honestly and with effort, no matter the amount, it deserves respect. That's why, even for just $1, they'll give their best. They don't look down on small jobs, and they never despise humble beginnings. Moral of the story: no amount of money is worthless. Money itself isn't evil. It reflects your character. The one who respects a single dollar today will be the one who earns 1,000,000 tomorrow.